her to my room. I held her like this, filled her bottle. She got maybe a good couple of drinks in, and then she started like, huh, huh. So I'm like, okay, she probably needs some air, so I'm gonna let her get some air. And then she started to like keep doing it, so I'm like, okay, this is weird.
A 19-year-old father sits alone in an interrogation room, exhausted, emotional, and convinced he's about to answer a few questions before going home. Just hours earlier, his infant daughter, Addison, had been rushed to the hospital after suddenly having a medical crisis. Doctors were still working to understand exactly what had happened, but as investigators review the medical reports, a very different picture begins to emerge. Because while Hunter Waters insisted this was a tragic medical emergency, detectives were already starting to wonder if something much darker had happened inside that house.
Just tell me what happened, and actually what happened. Because I know I'm not getting everything from
The only
Look
thing.
at me.
Huh?
Look at me.
Yeah.
On the morning of November 26th, 2023, what appeared to be a normal day quickly turned into a nightmare for a young family. 19-year-old Hunter Waters had spent the night caring for his 2-month-old daughter, Addison Waters, at home. According to Hunter, the morning started like any other.
And you live at 902 Monroe, right?
Correct.
And who all lives with you?
Mother, stepmom occasionally. She just stays on the weekends whenever she's available.
Okay.
Younger brother and younger sister. I'm a step older.
Okay. And then Addison stays with you.
Yes,
full
and
time,
and mom does too.
Okay, so she does that. She lives with you.
Yes.
Just spends the night at her mom's house once in a while.
Yeah. Well, she stays at my house during the weeks, like from Monday through Friday, and then she has her mom has her on Saturdays and Sundays, which is like whenever, because that's the only 2 days she has off work.
Okay.
So that's why she has her on Saturday and Sundays.
Okay. And run me through. We'll just start from like yesterday, because my understanding is that Addison and went to mom's house
Yes.
for the day.
Yes.
Okay. Just walk me through like what you did that day, all of that kind of stuff.
Yesterday,
I already know.
Okay, perfect.
But within moments, something seemed wrong. Hunter later told investigators that Addison suddenly appeared to struggle while drinking. At first, he believed she might be choking. When she became less responsive, panic spread through the house almost immediately.
So I figured she was just choking a little bit, so I patted her on her back, and then she started doing my mom knows the word, I can't think of the top of my head. It's where you like act like you can't, like, you don't know what's going on.
Okay.
So she was doing that.
Like disoriented?
No, it's like, it's an L word, I can't remember off the top of my head.
Like lethargic?
Yeah, lethargic, that's
Okay.
it. I can't remember off the top of my head. For some reason I can't keep
You're
it.
fine.
It's alright.
So then she was acting super lethargic. She wasn't responding to me. Every day, every time she hears my voice, she's gonna respond. It's either an eye movement, head movement. She'll look around, look for me,
Okay.
because she knows I've been there the day she was in OSF, or not OSF, Methodist. So I knew she wasn't. I figured since she's not responding to me, I'll run downstairs. And me running downstairs, I'm crying.
Yeah.
I held her. I had her here. That bump that occurred wasn't there whenever I was carrying her downstairs. I got her downstairs. I took her to my mom. They were both asleep because they were wrapping presents at 2 o'clock in the morning. From 2 o'clock.
Oh, they were still up.
Yeah, they were up.
Okay.
They were up since 2 o'clock in the morning wrapping presents. So they were tired. And so then I'm crying, running downstairs. I woke both my mom and my stepmom up because they were both just in bed together.
Okay.
So then I said, Mom, Addison is not breathing properly. So I handed her.
Family members rushed to help. Emergency services were called, and CPR efforts began while everyone desperately waited for paramedics to arrive.
In the process, me handing her my stepmom, who is my mom's girlfriend, she was on the phone with 911.
Okay.
And in the process of her getting on the phone with 911, I ran upstairs to get my phone to call because I was in EMT too.
Okay.
So I called her and told her what was happening. I wasn't crying, so I had to calm down for a second so I could tell her what was going on.
Yeah.
So that in the process of me calling her mom, 2 fire trucks and an ambulance showed up. And then whenever I got out, I ran into my room to go grab my phone because I was receiving a phone call. So then And when I was going to get my phone, my mom asked one of the, I don't remember who it was one of the EMTs that I was going to ride with. She told me I was going to ride with them.
Mm-hmm.
So my mom told me to go run to my room, go get some shoes, shirt on, whatever. So I ran in there, slapped on a pair of shoes, threw on a hoodie, and then in the middle of me walking out my front door, they were leaving.
Okay.
So they left before I could even get into the vehicle. As I was walking out the door, they were pulling out.
Okay.
So then I was like, what the heck? I thought I was going with them.
Mm-hmm.
So then I just told my mom, I'm gonna have to drive there. I don't have an option because I couldn't get in the vehicle with her. And so then one of the fire truck pulled up to me because I didn't know what hospital she was going at.
Okay.
So he blew his horn. I didn't hear it the second because I was too busy screwing with stuff in my car.
Yeah. Well,
So
your
then-
brain's elsewhere.
Yeah. And then I had to push some snow out of the way because I had covered. So then he told me that they were going to be going to Methodist here, where she was delivered to. So I'm like, okay, is that the one in Peoria? He's like, yes, it is. Okay, so then drove there. On the way there, I'm crying, trying to figure out why she's doing what's going on. And then in the middle of me driving, I used my Bluetooth thing because I'm 19. So I used my Bluetooth and call mom.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. So I called her, told her she needs to get ready as soon as possible because Addison is not breathing properly. So then whenever I get there, her mom pulls out right behind me. Me and both rush in there or wherever it was in the first door. It's room 408, I think it was. They were in the middle of pricking her, putting needles, trying to get some correct vitals. So then we were just waiting there watching. Then they did I couldn't really tell what it was. It was some type of x-ray. I didn't really get a good picture of what it was.
Mm-hmm.
Then whenever they said they got done with the x-ray, they were going to do her lungs and stuff. And then we got up here. And then in the process of getting up here, we were just following. Then at close to 9:45-ish is whenever they brought her into the room. So then they were doing the procedures, talking about us with the risk of the stable line or whatever it's called. So I'm like, yeah, I'll go and sign paper, get this stuff done, make sure she's okay. And then come to find out, she has a fractured skull. I didn't know that because whenever she had the fractured skull, that wasn't at the house. I was holding her and I didn't see anything of the lumps from the blood.
Okay.
And I figured it would have occurred whenever we were all passing around. And at that point, I was like, what the heck? What is going on then?
Yeah.
So then they did a CT scan, told us that it was a sign of a seizure. We didn't know at that point. We thought she was just choking.
Okay.
As Addison was transported to the hospital, Hunter was unable to ride in the ambulance and followed behind separately. The atmosphere was chaotic, emotional, and filled with uncertainty. At the hospital, Hunter continued repeating the same thing to investigators and medical staff. He said that Addison had seemed perfectly fine earlier. At one point, discussions about possible seizure added even more confusion to an already frightening situation.
So we didn't know at that point. And then whenever they told us that, I was like, okay, well, I have a history of a seizure. So I was like, would that have passed down from me?
Mm-hmm.
She's like, it would have been, they said it'd be more likely so that her seizures were transferred from me because I've shown genes like my father. So then I said, would her skull fracture on the back of her head would have occurred whenever we were moving her around in the middle of her having a seizure? She's like, that could have possibly been the case since she has that high blood pressure on the seizure, that could have been the case. So I'm like, okay, well now we know she has a fractured skull. And then they were doing another procedure. I don't remember what top of my head what it was. And then they said that they told us out of the blue that she had fractured ribs. We didn't know that at all, and I didn't feel anything abnormal whenever she was being patted, and the stepmom didn't feel anything whenever she was patting her. She figured that when she was patting her, trying to get her to open, she obviously cracked a couple ribs by mistake, because obviously we were just putting her around trying to get her to burp and get her to puke up, but she wasn't.
Like when you guys were trying to.
Yeah.
Okay.
And then by that point, we figured that we had to do all the blood tests and stuff like that, and then that's how we're here.
Yeah, and they'll give you all the medical answers and stuff, so we just want to make sure that, that she's going to be fine.
I'm hoping so.
So So I know that you just said a lot.
Yes. So
Um,
I would figure I'd just get it from start to
Yep,
finish.
and that's what I was just gonna let you, run me through everything. But I do kind of want to like work back through, just because we went through a lot, and that's why I record, so that way I don't miss anything when I go back. But so you guys went bowling between like 6.
Yeah, it was between 6 and 9 is
6
whenever.
and 9ish.
Yeah.
Okay.
And she was acting perfectly fine just then.
Okay. And she was awake.
Yeah,
then,
she was
right?
awake. She was smiling, being goofy.
Interacting.
Yeah, interacting with everybody.
Okay.
Yeah, she was smiling, trying to talk.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
No like crying, fussiness at that point in time.
She would only cry if she was hungry.
Okay.
But we fed her before she started crying, so that way it didn't cause.
When
a
she
scene.
started
Yeah.
showing signs, no problem.
But as doctors conducted additional testing, troubling questions began to surface. The deeper medical staff looked, the harder it became to explain Addison's condition as a sudden medical emergency. And before long, investigators began focusing on the one person who had been alone with her that night. A short time later, Hunter found himself sitting inside an interrogation room, answering questions about the final hours he had spent alone with Addison.
So then she wasn't responding to me, and I was like, "What the heck's going on?" Because she always responds to me.
Yeah, like if you're talking to
Yeah,
her, she'll show.
Yeah. She'll know it's me trying to respond to her. If she doesn't restore response back, I know something's wrong.
Yeah.
Because every time I speak to her, she will immediately shake a head, move a hand, move a leg, look around the room, try and find me.
Okay.
So then I'm like, okay, this is kind of worrying me. So I'm just sitting there patting her back for a good couple more minutes, and she's still. So I'm like, okay, what the heck's going on? So at that point, I'm crying in tears. I quickly picked her up, put her right here, put her head like somewhat like this.
Yeah.
Make sure she had enough airway to get breathe. I rushed her down to my mom. I opened her door pretty much, and I told her, Mom, I was like pretty much kind of like shaking my mom to wake her up because she's a heavy sleeper like me.
So they were both still.
Yeah, they were both knocked out.
Anybody else around at that point?
No. Well, other than the sister, because the brother went to go stay with his girlfriend.
Okay, so the brother had already left. At
Yeah,
that point.
he had left close to 5 in.
Okay.
So because it was him and his girlfriend's anniversary.
Okay.
At first, he appeared nervous, but cooperative. He seemed to believe there was still an explanation for what had happened, and repeatedly described the morning as a sudden medical crisis. As detectives walked through his timeline, he explained that he had spent part of the night playing video games while Addison slept nearby.
Yesterday, I let Addison go to her mom's house for the day, so I can get some stuff done at the house. I had a few things I had to do, and I had to help my mom put up Christmas decorations. So we're doing that, and then my brother calls me. He says, "You want to go bowling at sunset lights?" I'm like, "Yeah, let's go ahead and go bowling." So around 6 o'clock, we went bowling. I just had mom drop her off to Sunset Lanes since we were already there.
Yeah.
And then that way I would have to save myself a trip to.
You don't have to run out.
Yeah,
the
that way I
mom's
don't have to
and
run.
go grab her.
Yeah.
Yeah,
And
absolutely.
then we were all bowling. Addison was acting perfectly fine, and within the time from 6:15, because she got there a little late, which is fine. She got there from 6:15 to, I can't remember. I'm gonna say ballpark and say 9 o'clock is when we left.
Okay.
So then from there, Addison was fed 3 times. She was knocked out, sleeping in the car.
Okay.
She loves the car rides.
My baby too. I understand.
So then got home, and then mom and daughter went to sleep, or mom went to sleep and then woke up around 12:45ish.
Okay.
She was having some leg cramps from bowling.
Yeah, she
We
said
didn't-
that she thought she.
Yeah, we didn't know at the time.
Yeah.
So I called her mom, told her what was happening. We tried to have her walk and see if she can do it on her own. She couldn't, so I had to be a boyfriend and carry her all the way to the car in the 30-degree weather.
Yeah.
So then I just told her, mom, you can just keep her for the night. I'll take care of Addison for the rest of the night. It's completely fine.
Yeah.
So that way mom can get some rest, because whenever I'm working, the mom just lets me get rest for work. So that way I'm completely recharged for work. And then whenever on Wednesdays, Thursdays on my days off, I'll take care of her for the rest of those 2 days.
Okay.
So then around 1:15ish is whenever she left. Then I went back in my room. I was playing my video game for a couple of hours, and I went to bed at 2:45ish in the morning.
Okay.
Addison was completely asleep, so I was like, I'm just gonna let her sleep. If she cries, I'll wake up immediately.
Yeah, if she needs food,
yeah,
you'll take care of
she,
it.
we give her a bottle 10 o'clock ish, and then she'll sleep for until like 7:30, and then 7:30 the next morning, or this current morning I should say,
Yeah.
is whenever the event occurred.
Okay.
I did her daily routine. She cried, woke up, and then my daily routine is to change her and then feed her. So normally I don't feed her until 8, which is complete. I don't want to get her fed, so she was fed for the day, or not for the day, for the amount of time she had to be fed.
As the interview continued, detectives began comparing Hunter's account with information they had received from family members.
Any like grunts, cries, fussiness in bed,
Nope.
anything like that? Okay.
Nope, I didn't hear her do any fussing over the night. So figured she was exhausted. She was awake all day.
Well, and it sounds like she had a big day between
yeah.
like going to grandma's
Mhm.
and then going to the bowling alley.
Yeah.
It's just so much like
Yep.
stimulation.
She probably only
at
got
that age.
maybe about an hour and a half of sleep. That's just in between driving from place to place.
Yeah, and that's what took like an hour nap ish. So yeah, I'm sure she was probably exhausted after the day. And then what time was it that Mom woke up with the leg issue?
I'm pretty sure it was around 12:45 if I'm ballparking.
Okay.
It was, and I know it was close to midnight.
Were you still awake or were you sleeping at that point?
I was awake at the time.
You were awake?
Yes.
Okay. Still gaming?
Yeah.
My husband is a gamer. I understand. I know the grind. I know how it is.
So it was
Yep, I understand.
His mother told investigators she had heard loud banging noises coming from the area where Addison was sleeping. According to Hunter, the sounds were nothing serious and may have been Addison bumping her head. But that explanation immediately raised concerns. The detective pointed out that if the noise had been loud enough to be heard through a wall, it was unlikely to be something minor. Yet Hunter insisted he hadn't believed anything was wrong at the time. Investigators also learned that doctors had identified trauma involving Addison's head and neck, along with several other significant injuries. So they started sharing pieces of these with Hunter in hopes of making him speak.
Because we figured she was just choking and we couldn't get whatever was out.
Right.
And then they told us she had a possible seizure in the process of her choking. And that's whatever caused, they said that's whatever most likely caused her brain fracture because of all the pressure from the shaking.
Okay.
So, and I mean, I want to be as like honest with you as I possibly can, and I want to urge you that at this point, the very best thing that you can do is be fully transparent and honest with me. So I have quite a bit of additional training in cases that have to do exactly like this. I've worked cases like this.
Yeah.
I can tell you, seeing her and her injuries, it's not something that just happens. It's something that it's not just like a seizure and then they automatically have a fracture and a brain bleed and broken ribs. This is something that somebody either intentionally or accidentally did.
Because she didn't have that blood clot until she got here from in the ambulance.
Well, and sometimes, just so you know, a lot of the times if they have bleeding on the brain, especially if it's because there's subdural and then there's I can't remember what the other one is, but basically there's like a thin layer of skin. It's like a membrane that covers your brain to kind of try to help protect it inside of the skull. When they have a brain bleed like that, it will take a little bit of time for the blood sometimes to seep and collect enough where you're able to see that malformity. It's not something that immediately if you drop her, you're gonna see it right away. Just so you know, I'm not as concerned with the fact that like when she was on her way to the hospital, it wasn't showing yet. What my biggest concern is how did she get that injury?
Again, I was supposed to ride with them, and then in the process of them taking her, and I forgot to mention this, they almost forgot to grab her car seat. And her car seat wasn't even touched because I had to She has a little pet thing that prevents like wind going into her.
This isn't something that happened on the ambulance ride here. We both know that.
Okay.
I want you to be, I cannot stress to you enough how important it is that if something happened that you've left out, because I know at this point you've left out something, that this is the time that you're fully honest with me. I mean, this is your baby. And I can tell that you love her just from the way that you're talking.
Yeah.
What happened? And don't lie to me this time.
The only other thing I can think of is whenever the stepmom was flipping her around, that's whatever.
No. That's,
With these broken, fractured ribs, where were they at on the body?
they're on the left side. They're right in here. I mean, it's right where it, so this is, at least in my opinion, pretty obvious that somebody grabbed her here. So a lot of the times when babies end up with these, it's like a crushing thing. So like if they're crying and you get frustrated with them, or you know, we've talked to people before that accidentally will basically like squeeze too tight, like or like hold them to their body too tight. But it's not something that's just like from manipulating them or moving them or something like that.
Babies are flexible. They're very pliable. It takes a lot of force to break them. That's why, you know.
Yeah, their bones are like, I don't want to say jello because they're not jello, but they're bendy. You know, it takes force for them to bend to the point where they break. So, I guess.
And we get things happen, you know. I had a kid, you know. As a first-time parent, like, man, that shit's frustrating, man. Like, especially when you're trying to appease them, and it's like no matter what you can do or no what you try to do, it just doesn't work. And then you start to run out of options, and if you're there with her by yourself, you don't have anyone else to help you out. Like, I mean, those are all things I get, and I've talked to people in a very similar situation.
And by now, the detective's patience was also beginning to wear thin. Earlier in the interview, Hunter had acknowledged incidents involving Addison's head, before later trying to minimize or reframe them as accidents. Each new explanation seemed to create more questions than answers, and as medical findings continued arriving from the hospital, investigators were becoming increasingly convinced that Hunter knew far more about Addison's injuries than he was willing to admit. They explained that many of the injuries they were seeing were not typically associated with normal infant care, or an unexpected medical episode. It became increasingly difficult for Hunter to navigate. The series of events that had seemed plausible earlier were becoming harder to reconcile with the medical evidence. And eventually, Hunter began admitting pieces of the truth detectives had been trying to uncover. For hours, investigators had confronted him with clinical evidence, inconsistencies in his timeline, and questions he could no longer answer convincingly. Eventually, his explanations began to change. And as detectives pressed for details, he began admitting that his actions had gone far beyond the accidents he had stated earlier.
So tell me what happened. Legitimately happened.
I got her up this morning at 7:30, picked her up in her bed like this, and then grabbed her head, took her to her,
Something more than what you told us happened. This is the opportunity to talk about it.
And what we're trying to do, like, no matter what you tell us tonight, you're going back to Addison. You've got priorities. You got things. We're trying to get ahead of the medical records, because the medical records, once they start coming back, like through the Pediatric Resource Center, you know, they have doctors that specialize in child trauma, and they can pin down time frames and nature of injuries. You know, I worked a case where I had a baby with a bunch of broken ribs. Well, come to find out, they were broken in several different areas over the course of time. So that went from being a very brief, short incident to now it's happening over time to this baby. And, you know,
which that's not what I'm foreseeing.
That was a bad guy that was doing that, because he was.
That's somebody that's consistently hurting a baby. I do not think that that's what happened in this case, but it just makes it, because we're going to figure out what happened.
Yeah.
When it happened.
Yes, when it happened, how it happened. We're going to figure all of that out. If you're honest with me now, I can say, hey, he got overwhelmed. If you lie to me, and then these medical records come back and we're able to gather information that shows that this is what happened, but you lied to me, that makes it look a lot more like I'm
this bad guy that's wanting to hurt a baby, not, hey, I'm a dad, I just got, and young, you know. I mean, I was 32 when I had my kid, and it was overwhelming as hell for me. So I can't imagine being, 19, having a 2-month-old, and then having those responsibilities thrust on you, wanting to rely on the mom, her being gone, and just to echo what Palmer's saying, it's, you've painted this picture, like, you're with her, she's fine, you're the only one that's with her, no one else has access to this baby, you're locked in a room with this baby all night, and then in the morning time, no one else has interacted with her or you, and then she's injured. Okay? So there's a time frame, okay? And I think you could agree with me, like, this is the time frame. Something happened in this time frame.
Yeah.
Okay? What happened?
And
I know it's...
I can tell that you don't want to talk about it, and I can tell that you want us to just take what you said and say, okay, like, that makes sense. But what I'm telling you is, it doesn't make sense, and this is your opportunity to basically get it out now
And get ahead of it.
and get ahead of it. Because I have a 1.5-year-old.
Yeah.
I get how I have been on the floor crying my eyes out, screaming, because I just cannot get, I can't figure it out. I don't know what she needs. I don't know what's going on. I get that it can be frustrating, and I understand how it is. Nobody prepares you.
Yeah.
Everybody throws you baby showers and is super happy for you, and then it's like, holy shit, this is reality. This is way harder than I was ever expecting it to be.
And so, painting this picture and going through like, oh yeah, I'm the only one with her, this, that, and the other, and then, but I don't know what happened to her. It doesn't cut it, man. Like, it just
point.
doesn't. And we want to help you as best as we can to help you get in front of it, to help better treat her with her injuries, so we can tell the docs, hey, here's what happened. This came straight from the source. He's being honest. And I respect that. But
Which, I mean, it could depend. Depending on what exactly happened, it could help tailor her medical treatment. Which at this point, we're kind of at that, pendulum where it's like we don't know which way things are going to go with her. I want all the information that I can to give the medical team, the best that they can do. I want her to be okay. I don't want to have missed something just because Dad's not being honest with me. So I'm going to ask you again, and for the sake of your baby, I want you to be honest with me about what exactly happened that caused her injuries. This is the time. And just you sighing and looking down, like, dude, I'm telling ya, I have worked with people enough, like, I am not gonna look at you and think like, this guy is a bad fucking guy. You do not give off those vibes. But when you sigh and look down, dude, I know, like, just explain to me. Explain it.
and we get it, dude. We totally get it. Just it's hard shit to talk about.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, it fucking
And
sucks.
we do
We
this.
get that.
We do this a lot. Okay. We get it. We totally get it, man. But we got to know what happened. Okay. And we're not. It's not going to go away. And
And then, like I said, at this point, I'm worried about her.
Mhm.
Whatever information I can have to help her, like, I want Addison to be okay. And I know you do too.
Yeah.
So just,
Once you get it out, you will feel better.
yes.
You
So
will.
walk us through just what exactly happened.
I did get overwhelmed with her.
Yeah, which makes sense.
Mhm.
because now, and when you're honest with me, and you put the puzzle pieces together for me, it will make sense. So what was she doing that was overwhelming?
Crying.
Okay. Was this at like...
Normally whenever, obviously it's mom here, or mom's there, she just does her thing when stops crying, but
Yeah.
my initial thought was, when I feed her, well, she hasn't stopped crying, then I pick her up, talk to her, see what's going on. I'm guessing whenever I'm not gonna lie, I almost dropped her, so I probably squeezed a little too hard by accident, and that's whenever
Throughout the interview, detectives remained calm. They were just focused on getting the information out of him. And once Hunter confessed, the case against him moved quickly toward a devastating conclusion.
Okay. So did she sleep until 7:30
Yes,
then?
she did.
Okay.
I have my sister can prove for that.
And no problem. And I know that you were up late, you know, gaming. I understand. Trust me, I live with a gamer. I know how it is. You're up late. You're not necessarily planning on having to be the sole caretaker. All of a sudden it's thrust upon you.
Mm-hmm.
And so she wakes up at like 7:30.
Yeah.
You went to go give her a bottle. Did she eat like
She
normal?
didn't eat at the first time, so I was like, I talked to her, see what's going on, and that's whenever I almost dropped her and squeezed a little harder so I didn't drop her.
Okay.
And this happened.
And then, so you try to feed her, she's not really going for it.
No.
You pick her up, you're talking to her. At any point in time, and this is, I'm asking this because it can be important for her medical stuff.
Yeah.
And it's very common. When you picked her up, at any point in time, did you like shake her, jolt her?
When I picked her up, her head did go back. Like,
Okay. And
that's just because.
Did it hit something?
No. I was sitting in front of my bed, so there's no way of hitting my bed.
Okay. But do you think that you went like back and forth at all with her?
No.
Or like jolted her?
No.
But you said when you picked her up, her head went back.
Yeah,
right?
it went back like hard.
Okay. Like whiplash kind
Yeah,
of thing.
kind of, yeah.
Okay.
But not as like hard as an actual whiplash, kind of like
What did,
50% of whiplash.
what did she do when that happened? Did she cry harder? Did she
No,
quiet
she just
down, or-
did a normal cry.
Okay.
She didn't like decrease her crying at all
No.
at any point in time?
No.
Okay. And so you pick her up, you're trying to get her to calm down. What did you try to do next?
I just put her down, walked in my room. Came back a few seconds later, she was still crying, so I was like, I'm just trying to figure out what the heck's going on. And then
When you put her down, did you put her in her bed or
I just put her on my bed.
just on
Yeah,
your bed?
yeah.
Okay. When you put her down, did her head hit anything that could have like
Possibly,
injured her?
I wasn't really looking. I just got frustrated and put her down.
Okay. And was it like, and again, I'm asking this stuff because I want to make sure that we have all the information we can to help her. When you put her down, was it like a, like toss her kind of a
No,
thing?
it was
or
just like a little
put
drop.
her down?
It was like
Okay.
a little drop.
But could she have hit her head on the headboard at all or anything like that?
I don't have a headboard.
Okay.
Any hard
And that's
objects in the
what,
bed that
yeah,
you're aware of?
anything.
Probably my controller.
Okay, so gaming controller possibility, not totally sure.
Yeah, no, I'm not 100% sure, but I don't know.
That could be.
Yeah, I mean, you don't know.
Yeah, I just put her down, just dropped it a little bit, and walked in the room.
Walked out
Yeah,
to
so
try
I
and
can
get a
recoup.
second.
Yeah.
Okay.
Regroup.
Yeah.
I
When
get
you
that.
went,
Following the investigation, Hunter was formally charged with first-degree murder and aggravated battery. Prosecutors argued that the medical evidence, timeline, and eventual admissions all pointed to Hunter as the person responsible for Addison's injuries. Rather than taking the case to a full trial, Hunter eventually accepted a plea agreement, formally acknowledging responsibility for what had happened. The court later sentenced him to 70 years in prison. For those closest to the case, the outcome brought accountability, but not closure. Family members were left grieving a loss that could never be undone, while also confronting difficult questions about stress, parenting, and warning signs that may have been missed. Looking back at everything investigators uncovered, do you think there were warning signs that someone should have recognized sooner, or was this tragedy impossible to predict? Let me know your thoughts, and I'll see you in the next one.